Let's talk about the process of playtesting and modification. This is the heart of game design. If you don't follow this process, you're unlikely to end up with much of a game no matter how good the initial idea is. It's also the heart of project management of software production as well, so it's a process that's generally very important in a lot of things. You can improve a game a little bit at a time. In other words, this is called incrementally. And what you want to achieve is in effect a plan. You have this idea of what you want the game to be able to do, how you want it to affect the players, what you want the players to do, and so on. That's your plan. Well, then you play test and you monitor to see how things are going. It's the same thing you do in project management. You have a plan and you monitor as you execute the plan to see how things are going. If there's a discrepancy between the plan and what you learn from monitoring as you execute, then you have to control what happens. In other words, you have to change something to modify your project to make it work in light of the new information. And at that point then you've changed your plan and you begin the cycle again. And here's a diagram that shows that. You have your plan, you execute it. You monitor, control, replan, and keep going around and around and around until you complete the project. Well, a game is a project as well. And what you want the game to do is your plan. The playtesting is the execution in effect. Yes, you have to make a prototype, and the sooner you get a prototype, then the sooner you can start to execute and see what's going to happen. And you have to monitor the results and compare them to the plan, to what you want the game to do. If the game isn't measuring up, and you can be sure that it won't to start with, then you have to modify the game. Well, at that point then you've changed your plan, perhaps not your goals, but the individual details of your plan. So you're going to continue with a changed plan, play test further, monitor some more, and keep going until you're done. And here's the diagram for that. Conception to prototype can be very complex if it's a video game. It's usually pretty simple if it's a tabletop game. But in any case, the important thing is to get that prototype so that you can then start to play test it. And when you play test it, you can analyze what has worked, what has not. That's your monitoring. And then you're going to modify the game accordingly. And then you're going to play test it again, both to see if your modifications are working and to see if you can find any other problems. Every element here is crucial. If you have a faulty plan, a poor game conception, it's not going to work, no matter how good the rest of it is. If you fail to monitor the results, it's not going to work. If you fail to successfully modify your game to bring it back to your goals, it's not going to work. And you have to keep doing that. The process never ends, because no game is perfect. Sooner or later, though, something's going to happen. One of the things that can happen is there will be a deadline that stops development. For example, the deadline is we've got to release this game. Or the other thing that's likely to happen, if you keep at it long enough, is the law of diminishing marginal returns sets in. For every improvement you make, it's going to take more time, and at some point the time it requires for the next improvement just won't be worth it, and you'll stop developing the game. So going through this cycle repetitively is called iterative, which is a common word in computer programming, and the process as a whole is called the iterative and incremental process of improving the game.